Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Answer is Yes podcast, where we will explore the cause and effect of just saying yes in your everyday life or in business. I will dig into topics that are not just stimulating, but will challenge you to be better in everything you do. The podcast is based on the simplicity of saying yes to opportunities you might encounter every single day. I'm your host, Jim Riley. Join me in my first series titled Blue Collar Redefined. Hello and welcome to the show. What a fantastic week it's been. Just a lot going on. It's the holiday season, and I want to wish everybody happy holidays. I say holidays because it's between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and as we get closer, I'll wish you a Merry Christmas. I guess we can say that again in some parts of the world. So anyways, hope everything's going great for you. I know it's that time of year where we're all scurrying to Christmas parties and shopping and traffic and weather and everything that holds us down, but maybe you're staying positive in the things that you're doing, knowing that you have more than enough. Thank you, Dave. Shout out to you. I have had just a tremendous couple of weeks around here with the girls, my daughters. I always talk about them being first in my life, and they're so important. This last week, we got a baby Weimaraner puppy for the birthdays. My daughter turned 5, my other daughter turned 3, and they're only a month apart, so it's been an exciting time for us. It's between that and Thanksgiving. And if you had not seen on my social media, I had committed to racing, against my better judgment, the Spartan Ultra World Championship in Iceland. And I leave Thursday this week. I'm out of here Thursday this week. I'll be flying overnight, getting to Iceland on Friday. We race on Saturday at noon, and it's a 24-hour foot race with obstacles. There's, I think, 22 obstacles in this one, and it's however many miles you can put in. So I was invited by a group of guys at the King's Camp Training Center in Sacramento. They had called me after winning Laughlin a couple weeks ago, my race in Laughlin that I did, and invited me to be on the team to go to Iceland with them. And it was really an honor to get the phone call. A fellow competitor had called me on behalf of the team that was going up there, and I guess they had somebody drop off, so they invited me, and I'm really excited to be doing it. And I know I've said before that I wasn't going to do another ultra. I did one a couple months ago in Tahoe and finished well. I had a second-place finish out of all the competitors up there on the 30-miler. But it wasn't the race itself that I was saying no to in the future. It was actually the hours of training that went into that, because I was putting in over 70 hours a week to do that. And it's just too much time commitment and away from my family and work and the things that I love to do. But I'm still in decent shape to go do this World Championship here in Iceland. So keep a lookout on my social media. You can follow along. I've been posting a lot of stuff at Spartan Strong at 50 on my Instagram, which carries over to my Facebook, and you can see what's happening there. So I'm really excited about doing it and hoping to see the Northern Lights. And in case you're wondering, I'm hoping I can do about 42 miles in the 24 hours allotted. You have to do a minimum of 30 miles to even be counted. And to receive a second level award, you have to spend at least 14 hours on the course. So that's what my goal is right now. I love that I've got a 19-page rule book they sent me just to go do this event, and they say, we encourage all competitors to receive clearance from their physician to participate in the event. Oops, I haven't done that yet. Probably won't. I feel pretty good, so I'm going to go for it. Anyways, not to bore you with that, I know a lot of people ask about my Spartan racing. And, you know, the reason why I do it is because I am just driven to accomplish and achieve things in my life that are challenging and hard and things that I can look forward to doing and completing. And this is one of those types of events outside of business and the things that I'm doing there. I'm also having a lot of fun in business. The podcast has kept me going, but I'm doing some life coaching, as some of you know, and I enjoy the heck out of that and do a little bit of consulting. And there's tons of projects coming my way, and I'm really starting to narrow down the things that I'm going to be working on in the future. And I'll be happy to share all those things with you as we come along. Or you're welcome to direct message me and check in. And if there's something I can do to help you out, please let me know. I am here for you any day of the week. Speaking of travel and going to Iceland, this week's guest, Shane Mahoney, is I would just call him a luxury travel planner, resource. I'm not talking about I'm going to Hawaii or Maui trip. I'm talking about the extravagant. I'm going to a private island with my own chef and a yacht waiting out front to take me to the other islands type of guy. And he really has an incredible story. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you or sharing his story with you and letting him tell you all about that. And as you saw in the title of this show, he wants to turn one person into James Bond next year through the travel plans. And he does a better job describing what that entails. I know it's got a hefty price tag, but there is somebody out there that will want to go do this. And I hope that you are listening to this show, because then I get to tell Shane, hey, I brought you your one James Bond candidate for next year. So let's dig into that with him, and I'll check back in with you on the other side. This is the Answer is Yes podcast. This is Jim Riley on the show today. Thanks for tuning in and all your great comments the last week about our shows and our guests. Keep them coming. Love to hear from you. This week, I have Shane Mahoney on the line. Shane, how's it going out there, bud?
Fantastic.
Yeah, you're out in Florida, and you're grinding in the weather being great while I'm looking at the rain outside here in Cali.
It's if I look out the window, it's beautiful, but I'm going to be wearing a coat the second I walk out. It's dead winter in Florida terms, which means it's about 50 degrees.
Yeah. What a great place we live in the United States, where, you can be on one side or the other with opposite weather, but you can easily hop on a plane and be there and just enjoy all the benefits of what happens in this country that we live in. We're so fortunate.
It's really an open world. I would go even further than the U.S. It's amazing what you can do. You can really choose exactly the life you want to live, and you can do it almost on a day-to-day basis.
And by the way, I just organically did that because I was referencing travel, and you're in the travel industry, so I wasn't even thinking about that when I said that. So I got introduced to you via email, and as an extreme sport guy and somebody that's done some crazy stuff in my life, somebody says, oh, Shane does this James Bond experience where you get to do all this cool stuff and travel and be James Bond. I was immediately hooked on wanting to call you and find out more. I want to talk about that at the end of the show, but I was just thought I'd dangle it out there a little bit for our listeners to listen to the entire show to hear about this James Bond experience. But this is a real thing, right?
Oh yeah, it's as real as it gets, and it's honestly the culmination of over 7 years in my business, with all the experience that I have, to put together something that I think I've kind of likened it to a plasma TV, the very first one.
Uh-huh.
Of course, this experience is very tough to pull off. It's intensive. It has a lot of different moving parts, and so quite predictably, it's not inexpensive. But on the other hand, I think that with some tweaking, this is the type of thing that's going to really change how travel is served to people, especially in a world where things like virtual reality and things are coming up. What are the things that people are going to really chase after and capture people's attention? And I think, for our history, it's been a new place. And to say that you visited somewhere, I think that's going to change, and that's just my opinion. But the Bond Tour is my manifestation of that thought, and to be able to put it together in such a way that, I think it's just probably the coolest thing I've ever worked on, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, well, it looks that way. Okay, so the carrot's been dangled. Shane is in the travel industry, and he is offering up, and we're going to talk about this at the end of the show, an opportunity to basically become James Bond. I've looked at the travel itinerary, and it looks amazing. So, Shane, with that carrot being dangled, I loved hearing a little bit about your story and how you got involved in the travel industry. Would you mind taking us back to, when you started deciding, getting out of school and college, what you were going to do in life, and kind of where you were at with your family and some of the decisions you made early on? Because clearly you're running a successful travel business now, and we want to know how you got there.
Yeah, absolutely, Jim, and thanks for asking. So, my story is kind of an odd one. the son of a Parisian mother and a cracker Floridian dad, and so they met while working at a hotel called the Breakers in Palm Beach. And my mom, true to her word on not wanting to date anybody that she works with, just literally wouldn't date him.
Uh-huh.
And so they had this pseudo relationship for a while. And essentially, he actually moved to be in the oil industry back in the 70s. And so he did some training in Tehran, Iran. And my mom, because they were not working together anymore, had been able to transfer anywhere within the Breakers organization, and they actually had a hotel in Tehran. So she said, you know what, let me go out there and I'll meet up with this guy who's been after me for a while.
Uh-huh.
And so she gets to Tehran, and this is of course way before texting and things like that. You couldn't really let people know what you were going to do. But she showed up and found out that 3 days later he was shipping out. And so so they actually got engaged and married in 3 days.
Whoa.
And there you go. Like that kind of was the beginning of the adventure.
Wow.
And so when I was born, we kind of had an interesting life where we lived in Borneo for a year. We lived in Perth, Australia for 3 years. And the whole time that we were doing this, my dad would be home 3 weeks, and then he would jump on a helicopter and eventually a ship that went out into the Indian Ocean, and they would drill for oil and just try to find the next big strike. And so, it was this kind of an odd existence where every 3 years we sort of moved at the most. And so fast forward to when I was in 4th grade, I ended up in this little town called Lakeland in Florida. It's like literally in the middle of the state between Tampa and Orlando. And I hated it. And so when I graduated high school, I said, you know what, I'm out of here and I'm never coming back. And I went to the University of Alabama and picked international marketing as my major because I really like the idea of being able to get paid to travel. So that's kind of a theme in my life, I guess. And not really understanding, by the way, anything about what an actual international marketer does at the time. And so I went to school, graduated, ended up getting a career in finance with cars. And it was just kind of, I guess it was part luck that I worked for Ford Motor Credit and moved to Dallas, Texas. And that started a 5 or 6 year, career path that it was lucrative. It was good. I was able to move forward in lots of different organizations, gain valuable management experience. But it really wasn't anything that I really wanted to do. And so I started looking at other things, and that took another 5 or 6 years really of just kind of pecking around, not really knowing what I wanted to do and just being sort of good at a bunch of things, but not really passionate about any one of them.
Yeah, Shane.
And so really
Shane, let me ask you real quick, because I think a lot of people are in careers where they're working them and maybe they're good at it, but like you just said, it's not really what you wanted to do. What were some of those, what were some of the identifying factors where you realized this isn't really what I wanted to do? What was going through your mind or that helped you realize that wasn't it for you?
If you can look up from your desk and realize that you've been looking at those same gray walls for just too long, that was a big identifying factor for me. I felt like the need to change my perspective and the things that I was going to see and do on a daily basis. I think the industrial society that we in large part live lends itself towards being kind of a cog in a machine. You sort of do this one task or this one job, and it becomes very good to be very good. It becomes easy to be very good at it.
Uh-huh.
And so you have to, I think for me, I can't speak for everybody, but I reached this point where I realized that I was good at making money, but it came with the cost that I was going to be stuck to a place. And so you have to come to this realization of what is really important. Is it the life part of life, or is it the stuff part of life?
Uh-huh.
And so, if the stuff